Welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be playing the first part in a new irregular series where we will be playing the Furthest Frontier. This is a city building game that was released into early access in August 2022. Now I'm aware many people don't like long introductions, so there'll be a couple of timestamps appearing. The first one will take you to the setup screen, and then the second one will take you right through to the gameplay. Decided to stay. This introduction will consist of two parts. The first part I'm just going to talk a little bit about Furthest Frontier and my initial feelings of the game, and then the second part I'm going to talk about how this series is going to work going forward. So what is Furthest Frontier? Well, it is a city building game that probably could be easily described as a mixture of Banished and Age of Empires. The reason I'm saying that is that it does very much have a Banished feel, but it does include combat and wild animals, so there's a slightly strategic warfare element to the game as well. Now, the time period that this is based in, I've seen people describe this as a medieval city builder, but truthfully it's not really that. I personally describe it as an early modern city builder, and by early modern I mean about 1700s. So the technology isn't quite so primitive as the medieval age, but not as advanced as the Victorian age. And if you want a further orientation, this is about the time when the first settlers were moving to North America and founding the East Coast colonies. Also, there were groups of people pushing out into Eastern Europe, settling some of the wilder lands in that area. So I think the theme fits really well, and I have to admit, considering this is the first release into early access, the actual mechanics within the game are pretty well developed, and I'll be very interested to see where the devs are actually going to take it. So I think that covers the general introduction for the game. We'll have more detail once we start playing. Now, just to finish this introduction off, I just want to talk about the nature of this series. This is going to be an irregular series simply because I'm still in the process of learning the game. I've only played about 3 or 4 hours, so still got a lot to learn, so I'm going to make mistakes. Therefore, I'm going to play this game as very much as a learning experience, and of course there's a possibility that the devs will drop a new update which will change the mechanics. So what we're going to do is try and get through as far as possible looking at mechanics. If the mistakes get too bad, what we'll do is restart. There are also a number of other elements that I want to look at over a period of time. I think that about covers the introduction, so what we're going to do now is move on to the new settlement screen. Now, in my first impressions video, I did it by Pioneer, and someone suggested I should play Trailblazer, so that's what the level we're going to be playing on. And if we move down to the screen, Vanquisher I think is probably a little bit more hands-on. You've got to know what you're doing, but simply because the aggression is a lot higher. And then what we'll do is just going to falling down Farmington. Yeah, I think we're going to play in Farmington. The map size I'm going to go up to large just out of curiosity, because everything I've done so far is medium. We're going to leave pacifist mode switched off. Now if we click start now, we'll just get a random map, but what I want to do is control the maps, because this is part of what I was saying in the introduction, that I want to try out different things. I think for this series we're going to stick with Lowland Lakes, which is, it says it's the easiest environment difficulty, because I really want to try and come to terms with the mechanics of the game. I don't really want to have to try and, well, draw on a knowledge that I haven't got. So I think that's about it. If you're interested in advanced settings, this is where you can customize the game. So for example, if you don't really want the raiders, you can actually drop this down so that you can play on the normal level, but we've lowered down here. At the top you got the seed. Well, I'm not sure what that can do. I think you can spin that. We'll just give it a zap around here, and I suppose we'll have to set that back to low lakes and back to basic settings, just make sure. And we're just going to click start, and away we go.
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving us to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown. The nobles hid behind the safety of their walls and did nothing when raiders pillaged the outskirts of the city. So, some of us decided that it was time to leave. That we'd rather take our chances in the wilderness, seeking the promise of a new land, than starve to death in our homeland. The journey wasn't easy. We lost many along the way. But this wild, unsettled land offers our destiny.
Must admit, I do really like that intro video, and I think if from a role-playing perspective, it gives a good entry that you could either pretend that you're settling in the New World or expanding into Eastern Europe. And the buildings have a kind of very much a, we could call Eastern European, slightly Germanic look to them. As for the raiders, they got a touch of Viking, but you wouldn't, and I don't think the Vikings were still raiding in the 1600s. So maybe we'll just have to pretend that the raiders are some group of bandits or something, or it's just the fact that the boundary is lawless. So here we are on the map. We just got to wait for this. It says here, town centre. You finished scouting the surrounding area. Survey this land. Your villagers explore, choosing a promising site to construct your town centre. Now, one thing you need to bear in mind is that the moment you can see the whole map all the way across here, but once you put the town centre down, what will happen is that the fog of war will come in very closely. And the other thing also is, don't worry too much about where your villagers are, because they seem to teleport wherever you place your town centre. And as far as I know, they don't take any negative impacts while you're actually looking round. Now, what you need to do, so we got some deer here. We've got deer up here, wow. And if you press F4, what you do is you get an overview of what's around. But we got 3,500 clay deposits there. What's this? Coal. Wow. We got deer here. We got a lot of deer on this map, which is good because what you're looking for is protein. We got shoal of fish there, although this is the easiest start. Be aware of that as well. Now, the other thing you need to look at is the presence of water. Quite like it. We've got deer down here as well. And that looks suspiciously like boar. Boar can be a little bit of a problem. My instinct is that if we've got clay and coal over here, I thought, and we got sand there. This is going to be an industrial area. So we've got deer there which we could hunt out. We got a wolf den there, which means there's a potential source of problems. But the trouble is, I don't really know what the potential for how can you say, pollution is. But we do need to be near water. My instinct is to actually start down, because water can be quite crucial. I think my instinct is to start up around here. I should just press F and look at fertility. Yeah, so the fertility's down here as well, right in the middle there. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling it to have the actual town centre about here, possibly with the housing going that way, although the water's a bit icky. Actually, I think we'll bring the town centre a bit to the centre, and then we'll have the housing going that way. So if we put probably going to pick up that thing, but that would yeah, and I think what we're going to do is just rotate this round. Now, one thing I will say is that if you don't like the map, if you come up, oh, we can't see it anyway. If you don't like the map, you can press escape, and what you'll see is there's an option to re-roll the map. And the other thing that's also worth noticing is that if you make a bad decision with respect to kind of placing the map, your starting location down, you suddenly realize you put it in the wrong place. There's the option. There's an option to restart as well. Anyway, we're going to start there, and what we're going to do is just pause so that we can plan, because I want to do a little bit of planning, and I want to go this way. We've got water here. We've got the deer sighted up there. So what I'm thinking is we're going to start with, how much stone is there? There's 18 stone there. I think we can go right. Whoops. Must admit, I'll be completely honest, I'm not the greatest fan of the road system in this game. It's a bit kind of chunky. And what I want to do is come out about that far and leave a little bit of a gap there for a reason which will become apparent. I'm just going to create a bit of road there. Now, the other thing, next thing I want to do is, now deer need trees. So the next thing we need to do is tell these people where we want to harvest. Now, the way the harvesting works is you've got to do something like that. So what I want to do is just select this whole area here, and then we'll just set that and just get that going. So we've now got this area here which we're going to collect the resources from. Now you can't build any houses. You've got no storage at the moment because we need to build this first, but you can plan the food production. And we know that we've got fishing over here which we want to take advantage of, so we're just going to put the fishing shack here. Now you can press the tab key to rotate, or what I've actually done is if I come up here, come to settings and come to the controls, what you'll find if you come down here, you can select rotate building or click this button here and then just press any key to map into, but you can't use the R key unless you remap resource center, which is toggle resource menu, which is R, and what I've done is I've changed that to Q to be able to get that done. So we've got that there, and put the fishing shack in there. Now don't worry about the circle, you can get there and it tells you how much fishing you can do, but to be honest, you can move that circle once the fishing shack has been built. So now you don't have to build to a grid, though it's probably better if you kind of make it slightly gritty if possible. But I'm building in an English village, and English villages don't contain straight roads. So we've now got that there. We've got the deer up there, which we can put in as a hunter's cabin. We can put the hunter's cabin, there. We decided, what was it, that the houses are going to go that way, aren't we? Which means we're probably going to hunt out that deer there, but we've got other deer as well. What you need is a good source of protein. Now the next thing is the forager shacks. What I'm looking for is, well, that's quite a nice collection there. We've also got willow bush, which is we're going to need as a bar for the basket maker. So I think if we put that there, well, we're probably going to need to move this road anyway because we're right on top of the clay deposit. And I've got no idea how big that building's going to be. And down here, I think what I'm going to do is put another, get rid of that, rotate. I'll put another forager shack that's there. Now, resource-wise, we've only got options to 2 buildings. This firewood splitter is quite important. But you don't want him, if we're going to build housing up here or out this way, actually we could build the housing out that way, because yeah, I think we're going to do it that way. No, because we need wells, sorry. But what you can do is, this is the reason why I pushed this out a little bit, is we can just slip that in just about there. Now the firewood splitter is very important. The firewood keeps your population warm, and it seems to be something that needs to be constantly built. Now the well, you're looking for, I mean, you could probably put a well up here for 64%, 50%. Ideally we could do with something a lot better than that, but I mean we could probably get some 63% up here. I think to begin with, I think I'll put a well about there. We're probably going to have to end up building multiple wells. We got 61% down there, because water is quite kind of fundamental to what you're actually doing. We're just going to let the game run. We're going to let all our workers get out and about. Somebody did point out in my overview video that you can actually move this wagon as well, which we will do, but at the moment we'll just leave him here. We do need to build this area here. Quite a lot of stuff here. Now what I am going to do is look around for blueberries. Hawthorn. Got a ball down there. This is good. Now another thing that's worth noting about the hunter is that hunters need bows in order to get things done, so be aware of that. Plenty of fertility. I think we're building in the right place. Looking round, yeah, we're going to build our first houses this way. Eventually we'll probably move the hunter's house, because what you can do is once you can move buildings, and it's far better to move a building than actually scrap it and rebuild it, because I think if you scrap or demolish a building, you only get 50% of the resources back again. If you actually move it, you actually get further resources. I'm just gonna chop these out, I think. Yes, I know you're unhappy, but there's nothing I can do about it at the moment. Housing shortage, firewood is low. Yeah, well, we haven't quite finished building the actual bit in the center. So we've now completed our house, and what we need to do now is build homes for 12 people. Now each one of these shelters will hold 4 people, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to start by rotating that into that corner there, and we'll rotate you into that corner there. Now what you got to do is don't put your houses really tight like that. What you want to do is put a kind of gap between your houses. The reason for that is that you've got to add decorations to get your desirability up. So what I'm going to do is just come up this way. We're just going to, and the same applies here. So we've got a house here, and I think what we're going to do is I'm going to put a house just on that corner there, and then we're got another one there, and maybe we're another one there, and we're push the road up that way. Now the hunter is going to complain that we haven't actually got there, so we're still building that. I think what we need to do is prioritize that, because the hunter won't work until we've got this built. Now the next thing we need to do is look at the food production. Now this smokehouse isn't that desirable, but at the same time this is something that we do need. I want to put it over here because we've got the hunters over here. We've also got the fishing out here. Now, this is where you can kind of move this out. Predator sighted. Thank you again. Probably going to end up losing. Got it. Aha. One thing I've noticed is if you've got a hunter's building close by, what will happen is that the hunter will actually kill the predator. But we've lost somebody. Okay. I think you need a home to move into. You got here, villager is sick, villager is homeless, build additional buildings. Ah, so we just lost somebody. We're off to a flying start. Villager has died from his wounds, yes. Oh well, that's the way it goes. Now, I've watched one video where someone got straight into the farm from the beginning. I personally don't like the idea of building a farm. To me, that's more of a long-term project. I'm just gonna harvest those. Got some. That's hawthorn, but these up here, I'm sure these are blueberry bushes. Right, guys, I'm going to be a little bit sneaky here now, because what you can do with blueberries, this is the only plant in the game that you seem to be able to move, but I think it's quite a nice way to do something. And what I want to do is I think we can just get a little patch here. Bring out your dead. Confirm dead villagers will rot while attracting vermin. Okay. Yeah, but I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I can build a graveyard just yet. Yes, I can. Right. I think let's put a graveyard down here. I think graveyards are the only thing in the game that you can't actually move. Not doing very well here, am I? Predator sighted. Yeah, I don't have a healer. We've got 15 months of food, but we just got no population. Need this smokehouse built. Down to a population of 8 now. Unfortunately, I don't have any workers. Okay, join your settlement, amass 4 months of supply and build 6 houses. We need those population. Right, well, what we're going to do is we're just going to shut the hunter down so that we can get more workers into the area and get some stuff built. So we certainly need the smokehouse. We've got enough housing for our population. We've got 2 dead there. I don't know where the third body would be. Yeah, third body's up there. We need to get a bit of prioritization going here. So we're not off to a good start. Got 4 bodies now. got the smokehouse. I'm just going to speed this up again, guys, see if we can get through this disaster very, very quickly. We're back to 12. We've got 3 more villagers. What we need to do is get some housing for them, and then we can get back to firewood is low. Okay. We need firewood splitter into there. So we've buried our dead. Yeah, room for more workers, but that's okay. Right, let's just have a look at the people situation at the moment. I think we've got 6 laborers, so I think we can turn that back on again. We've got the smokehouses working, and now we can start looking at, now crisis averted, we built the graveyard. What we need is storage now, and the first thing we need is a stockyard. Now the stockyard holds materials. Now we got materials over here, so what I want to do is build the stockyard a little bit away from the this kind of city center or town center. I'm just gonna get that into there like that. We've got a firewood problem, but we need more residents. We've got enough accommodation now. We've got 5 months of food left, but we're coming out of winter. We need somebody fishing. So we can get the food going. So we're in the new year now. What my original, okay, accept them people, or accept them. Yes, we need them. Yeah, bustling market. Yes, thank you, game. I know, but I need to work on storehouse first. We need to build the stockpile. I don't think can't build anything else. Food production we can't. Now, what I would like to do is now plan our farm, and it looks, and what we've got here is our most kind of, how can you say, we've got our most productive area here. But I think what I'd like to do is start by putting a farm in this area. I mean, this would be ideal. In fact, we could put I don't want a big one. This is I'll say about 5x6 here. So we're just going to put a farm in there behind that, and that just leaves enough space for a road in there. Now it's going to take several years to prepare the farm, so don't be two things here. Right, one thing I want to do is set that to collection. Herbs. But the deer, we've got deer. The deer now have been. We press F4. Down to 3 deer now, so we've got to be a little bit careful. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is we need to let that deer recover. So we're not going to hunt the deer down here. What we got here? We've got hawthorn. We've got the birds. We've got the bird's nest over there. We've got 20 stuff here. Right, we got. Let me just set this up. Harvested. I think I'd like another forager out here because we've got some good resources here. So think we'll put a forager's shack out about there. So we're on the increase. Amenities, town centre, market. Right, in order to build a market, we need a storehouse. So we now get into here. What we need is a root cellar. Now, ideally, we want the root cellar as close to this area as possible. And the other thing we're going to need is a storehouse. And I think we're going to put what I'm trying to avoid is actually putting all the storage together. And I think we're just going to move our wagon out over here now. So, actually, I think what I'm going to do is we move this guy down to about here. We can hunt the deer down here. Yeah, we got a water problem straight away from. I think we may need a water up here. Amenities, resources. 56, 58%. I think we're going to put a water well in that area there. Pick the fertility again. Right, what we need now is a saw pit. Now a saw pit can be a little bit undesirable, but what we can do is put it down in, say, about this area here, which is away from the area here. Now the saw pit is a requirement for some other buildings to be built, so I think we're going to put the saw pit just down here, because that's going to be close to here, which will store woods and planks. So in some ways you want to put the store pit close to the stockyard. Hawthorn. Right, got another blueberry bush. You come that way. Got any more here? What have we got here? A blueberry bush. Put you there. Oops, sorry. Turn off F4. So we got the sawmill here. We'll probably need 2 of these eventually. We probably need to start thinking a little bit about houses. Back on again. Yeah, you can see the deer have disappeared now. Just push this out here a little bit. New harvest that as a resource and prioritize it. I'll just get it out the way. It's blocking my road. Now, one thing you need to resist the temptation of doing is actually building a tower, because if I show you the tower for defenses, see this needs 10 gold, plus you also need what we call it, you need arrows, bows and arrows. We got plenty of wood coming in. We got stone is a little bit crucial. We've got a well up here now. Where are these predators coming from? It's almost like we've got the wolf den there. So I think what I'm going to do is, one thing we can do, which won't cost us any money, is put a fence up here. If they're going to keep coming in here, I'm just going to build a fence line here. Actually, I'm kind of a bit tempted to put a hunter here. You can see here, because winter's coming now, we're actually, the field is now stopped. Enemy sighted. In some ways, this hunter's cabin is actually in the wrong place now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the hunter's cabin over here. This is turning into a little bit of a brutal map, actually. Oh, and if I show you the hunters, what you see is it's got green for traps and boar. So if we put a hunter there, if they got a bow and arrow, they might be able to kill a few of these guys. Anyway, let's just get down to what I'm just going to pause because we need to look at resources. Right, what we've got now is we've got the ability to open this thing up. Right, so we've now got the ability to do other buildings because we got the saw pit. And of course, what we're looking at now is actually upgrading this, but we need to build a market. But to build a market, which is in amenities, we're going to need stone and wood. And I'd like to put the market in the center here because you can see what that will do is increase the desirability. If we can put the market in about here, that will feed the population. So we need to build a market. That would also mean that we'll make some gold, which is going to be quite important. I get a house on this corner. Another little house. I'll just tuck that house. Another couple of houses on this corner. We've only got 7 months of food, but we're just coming out of our second winter. Just make sure that we can just going to move our forager circle up to include this area here, like that. Give it a little bit more to pick up. So we got plenty of food coming in. The smokehouse is doing quite well. How are we doing for food? So we got 202 smoked food, 164 smoked fish, but we've got no real vegetables at the moment. So people are living on protein, which is not particularly that healthy. Gravestones. Got a few gravestones in here. The foragers. Actually, what I would like to do is what I'd like to do is come down here and possibly cover that area there. Right, we've got deer sighted here. It's got 5 deer on it. There's the predators. We've got wolves coming in from this side as well. We have wolves everywhere. But we've got quite a lot of deer down here. Harvesting resources. Resources are log stones must be marked for harvest before that means I've probably run out of things to harvest. Let me just see. Yeah, I think we're, yeah, start clearing out some of this stuff here as well. We got a kind of anti-predator fence here. It should reduce things down. Kind of very much like the idea of putting a hunter down here as well. So put another hunter's shack here. We've got 29 out of 36. Things are looking reasonably good. We've got plenty of firewood, plenty of logs. Got some planks being built now. We've got our market being built, and I'm just to wind this video up, what we're going to do is just have a review of what we've built so far. We've got our first farm being planned here, which is good. We've got a smokehouse. We've got our root cellar that's got, oops, a bit like there. It's got 77 berries in smoked. Got some greens. We've got some smoked fish. We've got our storehouse here, which has got, we've got pelts in it as well. And our forager now down here should be picking up willow. I'm not sure why the game insists on putting it over here. We've got smoked fish, firewood. We're actually starting to pick up willow, so that's good. So if we go food production, we're good. Resources. So I think the first thing we need to build is we need a Fletcher. So we're going to need to put in one of these guys. I think if we, again, it's the wood stuff is over this side, so I'm going to put the Fletcher, kind of squeeze him just in there. We need the Fletcher. Oh, we need a compost yard as well. And the other thing I also want is a basket shop. So, well, because this guy's down here, the arrow's the wrong way round. So we just put that way. We're going to put the basket shop there. I think I'd like to. That's not going to come here, but come across to. Going to come down past the graveyard. I think we can curve in like that. And just take the road down to there. Can't seem to do one square. Game always seem to wants to drag things, and we'll just put a road in there. So our next thing we need to do is build the Fletcher, the basket shop and the Fletcher. I mean, we've got a few hides, but I'm not sure that we're really getting enough to justify building a tannery and a cobbler shop. I'm not going to build the compost yet because that's actually going to cost us 4 gold. So we need to finish this first. Otherwise, we're going to run into debt. Walls were okay. Now the next thing the other thing we need to think about is decor. Now, if you actually look at the decor, this actually costs gold as well. The medium garden, the garden trail needs gold, and the small plaza. Anything we can really build in here is a small shrub or a small garden. So what we can do is just pop in. Actually, a set of thoughts. We come to there. So we can think we're just come to there. We'll just create 2 roads through there, and then Brian's quite nice, but again that needs a lot. We can do is just put in, what this does is it, small garden just adds a little bit. So we can just put a small garden in there as well. That is about it. As I say, we've got our farm being produced here. Probably need a road coming down this way. In fact, what we need around here is a field. We've got deer sighted here. Deer will probably come in and eat everything we've got here, so we probably need this. Let me just, now the edge of the field is there. I think what we'll do is we'll just bring the road right down here into there. That will get our road going. Right, we've got boar here. Gonna push this guy down and see if we can hunt out the boar. A bit worried about this guy's kind of going out a little bit further than he should do. So I think this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. I'm not claiming to be an expert, so any hints and tips that you want to suggest, feel free to chuck it in the comments. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.